in the hallowed halls of prestigious galleries, and behind the veiled transactions of the art world, a sinister secret lies hidden. Welcome to the clandestine realm of money laundering in the art industry. In this gripping expose, we delve into the captivating world where priceless masterpieces became tools for illicit activities. Join us as we embark on a journey that unravels the intricate web of art, crime, and deception. We will peel back the layers of secrecy, tracing the path of tainted wealth that flow through the unregulated corners of the art market. Through interviews with renowned experts, passionate investigators, and whistleblowers, we will shed light on the shocking tactics employed to legitimize illicit funds through the purchase and sale of priceless artworks. But it's not just about the crimes. We will explore the broader implications, the erosion of cultural heritage, the distortion of art markets, and the art-loving public. Prepare to be captivated by tales of audacious heists, high-stake forgeries, and the shadowy networks that facilitate the laundering of millions, if not billions, through the guise of artistic transactions. Yet, amidst the darkness, there are those dedicated to shining a light on the illicit underbelly of the art world. We will showcase the tireless efforts of investigators, activists, and organizations striving for transparency and accountability. An eye-opening exploration that will challenge your perception of the art market and unveil the intricate ties between creativity, crime, and corruption. All that and more coming up when a singer unfolds. Okay, money laundering refers to a process of making illegally obtained funds appear legitimate or clean. It involves disguising the true origin of illicitly acquired money, typically gained through criminal activities such as drug trafficking, corruption, fraud, or smuggling. The process, however, has criminal penalties such as fines, forfeiture, and imprisonment, yet many have been found guilty of this crime. What is the purpose of money laundering that thousands are still going for it, despite being aware of its dreadful dangers? The primary purpose of money laundering is to hide the illicit origin of funds. In short, concealment of unlawful origins. By bypassing the illegally obtained money through a series of transactions, it becomes difficult to trace it back to its criminal source. This helps criminals to avoid detection, investigation, and even prosecution. Second, money laundering aims at integrating illegitimate funds into the lawful economy. Once that money appears to come from legal activities or sources, it can then be used freely for legal purposes, for example, investments, purchases, or financial transactions. And so, this process allows criminals to enjoy their ill-gotten gains without raising suspicion. The third reason why people engage in this felonious activity is because it serves the purpose of preserving and expanding their criminal wealth. How? You see, by legitimizing legal funds, criminals protect their assets, accumulate additional wealth, and further their illegal activities, which when you look at it, it helps to maintain control over their profits while minimizing the risks that are connected to holding large sums of illicit cash at the same time. From now on, you may hear me switch between money laundering and money washing. I am not trying to throw you over the bridge because these two terms actually mean the same thing. The process of cleaning money, disguising illegally obtained funds to make them appear legitimate. Look at it the way you would clothes. Your dirty clothes go through a washing machine and come out clean. That is the most basic way I can put it. I'm not saying that you should put your money in the washing machine, okay? Unless you are a criminal that is looking forward to cleaning your money. You see, criminals use complex transactions and methods to wash their money to the point of removing traces of its illicit origins. However, money washing is not an official term, but it is often used metaphorically to refer to the act of money laundering. I hope I did not lose you there. Although we are focusing on the art industry, money washing has significant implications across multiple industries including finance, real estate, luxury goods, and of course, the art market itself. Just like the canvas world, money washing in the finance sector involves disguising the origin of illegally obtained funds through complex transactions that make it challenging to trace money sources. The real estate industry is also vulnerable to money washing since high-value properties can be purchased anonymously or through shell companies, again allowing criminals to integrate unlawful funds into the legitimate economy. But these are not the only industries to fall victim to money washing. As you have heard, the luxury goods sector is too. Remember, this sector also has high-end products such as jewelry, watches, yachts, and expensive cars, things that are often used to pull off money laundering schemes. Similar to the art market, the subjective nature of valuing luxury goods and the anonymity of transactions make it attractive for money launderers to use. As you learn throughout this video, that is if you stick around to the end, the most common technique used in the luxury goods sector is the purchase of goods with illegitimate funds and then reselling at a resounding profit, essentially cleaning the dirty money. Another tactic used in the luxury goods sector is over-invoicing, where the price of goods is artificially inflated on the invoice, allowing for the transfer of extra funds that come from unlawful sources. My art lovers, I am so sorry to break it to you, but the next time you see a painting like this one going for $5 million at the auction, just know something illegal is going on. I am not saying that all paintings are not of high worth. I am simply stating that the significance of washing money in various industries lies in its ability to facilitate the integration of felonious funds into the legitimate economy, while concealing so much of everything involved from identities, money sources, and actual art worth. So that being said, do not buy this art piece for $5 million. At least $2 million, okay? As I mentioned earlier, the process of cleaning money has its grip on various industries, meaning it's not just the art world. However, today I am interested in the art industry because art is a world of creativity, beauty, and innovation that offers a stunning lineup of styles, mediums, and movements. Art has the power to move us, inspire us, and challenge our perceptions of the world that surrounds us. Beyond its aesthetic appeal, the art industry is also a hub of cultural significance and historical importance that serves a reflection of social and political change, a commentary on contemporary issues, and a celebration of diverse perspectives and experiences. In many more things, the art industry is a vibrant ecosystem of artists, curators, collectors, and fanatics who are passionate about the transformative power of art, where creativity, innovation, and experimentation are encouraged, and where new voices and ideas can flourish. Because of all that, my friends, it breaks my heart to learn that the industry we all love and are part of is also such an attractive avenue for money laundering crimes. The question is though, why is it that this industry attracts such damaging activities? Second question, why are you not subscribed to this channel? The answer to the second question is just click on the subscribe button. Done? Now let's look at the answer or answers to the first question. There are so many factors attracting unlawful players to the art industry. The art market allows for a higher level of anonymity, which ensures that buyers and sellers remain anonymous in and out of transactions carried out through intermediaries such as galleries and auction houses. This alone makes it difficult even for law officials to trace the true identity of the people involved in such transactions. Believe me when I tell you, this degree of anonymity makes the art world such an attractive ground for those seeking to launder money. But also, the same market lacks regulation, which is yet another tool that money launderers need to execute successful processes of legitimizing unlawful money and allow them to carry out dirty activities. In addition, the absence of regulatory bodies or strict guidelines for conducting transactions makes it easier to conceal all this evil. One of many more reasons attracting money launderers to the art industry is the complex pricing within this creative space. The value of art is subject and often determined by supply and demand rather than objective criteria, something that makes it possible for criminals to artificially inflate prices of artworks. This in turn helps to legitimize the sources of illegal funds. The reasons behind the attraction of the art industry may exceed your list of expectations, but I'll tell you just two more for the sake of saving time. Because artworks are portable and durable assets that can be moved easily from one location to another without arousing suspicion, they can also hold their value for long periods, making them attractive long-term investments for those seeking to hide or launder money. Second, artwork can be sold for high prices, something that we see all the time. Being high-value crafts make them an attractive target for those looking forward to laundering enormous volumes of money. In some cases, for example, artworks can be sold for tens and even hundreds of millions of dollars, providing a way to launder large amounts of money in just a single transaction. Again, one of the other unique features of the art world is the subjective valuation of artworks. Unlike more traditional forms of investment like stocks, real estate, the value of a piece of art is often determined by its cultural or historical significance, as well as the tastes and preferences of collectors and experts. Money launderers already know this, so they often take advantage of this subjectivity by using the art market to launder their ill-gotten money. By purchasing expensive works of art, they can legitimize their funds and create a veneer of respectability. The subjective nature of art valuation makes it easier for money launderers to overvalue artworks and obscure the true value of the funds they are trying to launder. For example, a money launderer might purchase a painting for $10 million and then claim its worth is $20 million. The inflated value of the painting can be used to justify the illegal funds that were used to buy it. This eases the integration of those funds into the legitimate economy, but it also makes it impossible for authorities to identify cases of money laundering, as the true value of a work of art becomes difficult to determine. In a very special way, both anonymity and lack of regulation pave the way for illegal players to infiltrate the art industry further. The anonymity of art transactions is a key factor that contributes to money washing in the art industry. Unlike other value transactions that are subject to reporting requirements and regulations, art transactions often take place in private, with few records or identification requirements. This lack of transparency can make it easier for money launderers to hide their illegal funds. Furthermore, the art industry is largely unregulated, with few oversight mechanisms in place to prevent money laundering. This lack of regulation makes it easier for criminals to exploit the art market for money laundering purposes, and without proper regulations or oversight, there are a few mechanisms in place to ensure that art transactions are conducted legitimately. For example, a money launderer might use shell companies to purchase a work of art, obscuring the true source of the funds used for the purchase while evading detection. Now let's look at some case studies and real-life examples of money laundering in the art industry. While spotting notable instances where artworks were used to launder money, we are going to look at some of the details about the individuals involved, the artworks, and some of the methods employed. Many of you might still remember the Bouvier affair of 2015. It involved a Swiss art dealer called Yves Bouvier, who was later arrested in Monaco on charges of fraud and money laundering. This businessman had sold dozens of artworks to a Russian oligarch and investor, Dmitry, for inflated prices, making over $1 billion in profit. Later on, in late 2015, it emerged that Bouvier was under investigation by the authorities in Liechtenstein, which is a very small German-speaking country in Europe, in case you did not know, on suspicion of money laundering. However, the country suspended its investigation in December 2015 in what some say was a cover-up or something questionable. The artworks of that scheme involved pieces by Picasso, Modigliani, and Rothko, among others. Bouvier had purchased many of the artworks at low prices and then marked them up significantly before selling them to this Russian billionaire businessman buyer, making transactions appear legitimate. Later in September 2017, Bouvier was again under criminal investigation by Swiss authorities amid allegations that he evaded more than 100 million euros in taxes related to his cross-border art dealings. In 2016, the leak of the Panama Papers, which was a trove of documents from a Panamanian law firm named Mossack Fonseca. The leaked documents revealed that several high-profile individuals had used offshore companies to buy and sell artworks in suspicious ways, leaving behind numerous unanswered questions. These offshore companies were used to hide the true ownership of specific artworks and to launder money. The papers revealed that several Russian oligarchs had already used offshore companies to purchase artworks worth millions of dollars, including works of Monet, Van Gogh, and Picasso. Another major scheme happened in 2019, known as the One Malaysia Development Berhad Scandal. It is often referred to as the 1MDB scandal. It described corruption, bribery, and money laundering conspiracies in which the Malaysian Sovereign Wealth Fund, 1IMDB, were systematically embezzled. After assets were diverted globally by perpetrators of this scheme, the United States Department of Justice later announced that it has seized over $1 billion in assets related to this scandal. It turned out that this was more than a conspiracy. It was a multi-billion-dollar corruption scheme that involved the Malaysian government. Among the assets seized were several artworks, including Van Gogh painting and a Basikia collage. These artworks had been purchased with funds stolen from the Malaysian government and were then used to turn illegal money into legit. But before these three notable scandals, the Knoedler Art Scandal happened in the 90s and it lasted until 2011. This involved a famous New York City art store called the Knoedler Gallery, which sold dozens of purported works by abstract expressionist artists, including Mark Rothko, Robert Motherwell, and Jackson Pollock. In 2011, it was discovered that its artworks were forgeries. The forgeries had been created by a Chinese artist and sold to the gallery for millions of dollars. The sale of these forgeries was also used to launder money, as some of the buyers were known to have ties to money laundering and organized crime. These are just a few examples of how artworks have been used to launder money in the art industry. In each case, the individuals involved used various methods such as marking up prices, selling forgeries, and using shell companies to secure true sources of funds and make transactions appear legitimate. We now know some of the scandals played out by money launderers within the art industry, but here's a little deep dive into the strategies and techniques that are used. One common technique is to purchase artwork for inflated prices, thereby increasing the value of the artwork and legitimizing the funds used to purchase it. Such moves are not easy for one individual to pull off, so launderers collaborate with an accomplice or shell company to artificially inflate the price of specific artworks. That, my friends, is also another reason to stop you from spending your millions of dollars on a portrait like this. But if you can give me 500 grand, then that's okay. You see, shell companies not only play a role in inflating art prices, but also help to conceal the true identity of purchasers, allowing launderers to avoid scrutiny and cover up their illegal activities. These companies are often created exclusively to purchase and resell artworks. The use of shell companies and inflated prices are not the only strategies or techniques employed in this illegal game. Even places where sales or purchases are conducted got something at play. Take auction houses, for example. These houses are used in money washing schemes. If you're asking, this is how auction houses help bounders. A launderer may consign a piece of artwork to an auction house and have an accomplice bid on it, thereby driving up prices, and when a sale is completed but paid for with illegitimate money, a cleanup can come as a follow-up through transaction phases. And again, auction houses can provide a veneer of legitimacy to felonious transactions, which helps when it comes to evading scrutiny. All this means that the next time you go to an auction, pay some attention to those highest bidders, because they might be provoking you to spend your fortune on a piece that has no worth. Meanwhile, mine is now going for 250 grand. Anyone? I'll take 250? No? Okay. When it comes to spending on artwork, I would argue that you move cautiously throughout the entire process, whether you are buying or selling, because there's another trick: intermediaries. Intermediaries often play a key role in facilitating money laundering through art. These individuals or entities may be dealers, brokers, or advisors who tend to act as a link between the launderer and the art market. Intermediaries also help in executing the concealment of the true identity of the launderer by providing a mask of legitimacy for transactions. From all that we have covered so far, you see that the art industry has long been vulnerable to a devastating practice that has impacted art in so many ways. Money washing within this industry can have far-reaching negative consequences, such as distorting the art market by inflating the prices of artworks, which brings about a disconnection between the real value of art and the prices it is sold for. This can create a false sense of value and inflate reputations of certain artists and art dealers, but also can make things difficult for legitimate artists to gain recognition and for collectors to make informed investment decisions. In addition, money washing can hurt public perception of art because Every time we hear about money laundering schemes in the art world, it makes us skeptical about art and its value. But of course, we can start questioning the role of art in our societies. When all that happens, it reduces interest and investment in the art market, ultimately hurting legitimate artists, collectors, and artworks. The use of shell companies and intermediaries in money laundering can also lead to the erosion of transparency and accountability in the industry. This is one of the primary consequences that damage the integrity and reputation of art, as it can become associated with criminal activity and corruption. The lack of regulation in the art market also makes it a prime target for money launderers, something that I hinted at earlier in this video. I am mentioning it again because it continues to damage this industry's reputation significantly. How can I go on without talking about how money laundering negatively impacts societies? By allowing illegal funds to enter the legitimate economy, money washing contributes to the growth of organized crime and other illicit activities. Such practices are known to harm communities and undermine the rule of law. So, using the art industry to legitimize illegal funds is not just a problem for the art market, but for society as a whole. These are indeed dreadful consequences. If you ask yourself if there are some possible solutions, I have some good news, but before that, I want to talk about expert insights and interviews. Why? Because interviewing experts in the field such as art professionals, investigators, and journalists is a crucial step in shedding light on the issue of money laundering in the art world. Think about art professionals, including artists, art dealers, and auction house experts, who can provide insight into the inner workings of the art market and how money laundering can occur or be prevented. Investigators and law enforcement officials can discuss the challenges they face when investigating money laundering in the art industry and the methods they use to uncover illegal activities. They can also provide examples of successful cases and highlight the importance of collaboration between law enforcement and the art industry. But also, journalists can play a vital role in exposing money laundering in the art industry by investigating and reporting on suspicious activities or cases. Plus, these good people can also raise awareness about pressing issues and put pressure on the art industry to draft and implement measures against money washing schemes. That being said, let's look at some of the perspectives from experts in the field on the extent of the problem and the challenges in combating money laundering in this creative industry, as well as their insights on potential solutions and the importance of transparency. Many art professionals acknowledge that money laundering is a pervasive problem in the art industry, so they argue that the lack of transparency and regulation in the market makes it easy for illicit funds to be funneled through purchases and sales of artworks. Some experts suggest that increasing transparency and promoting best practices in the art market will combat money laundering. Second, investigators and law firm enforcement officials highlight the challenge of detecting and investigating money laundering in the art industry. They say art transactions are often complex and involve numerous intermediaries, which makes it difficult to trace the flow of funds. Again, officials suggest that more resources and training are both key tools that are needed to effectively fight against money laundering in art. Through expert interviews, journalists who have investigated money laundering in the art industry argue that the problem is widespread and that more needs to be done to hold individuals and companies accountable. They suggest that greater transparency in art transactions and more rigorous due diligence procedures will help change things. Now, I can tell you about key solutions or initiatives to address money laundering in the art industry. First and foremost, international cooperation. The reason why this is crucial in fighting against money laundering in the art industry is because it is a global problem that transcends national borders. Remember that criminals can move money and artwork across borders easily, making it difficult for individual countries to tackle this issue on their own. But since international cooperation can help identify and track illicit funds and artworks as they move through different countries and jurisdictions, it gets easy to reach out illegal players. The question is, how can this be achieved? Well, through sharing intelligence and information between law enforcement agencies, financial regulators, and the art industry itself. It can also involve the development of international standards and best practices for the art market, such as the establishment of common reporting requirements and due diligence procedures for art transactions. Second, increased regulation. I know there is some regulation, yes, but this is not enough. Meaning, if more is implemented, it can help fight against money laundering in the art industry by setting standards and guidelines for transparency. It may include regulations that require art market participants to identify their clients, report suspicious transactions, and disclose the true ownership and value of artworks. In addition, increased regulation can also enhance the oversight of auction houses, art dealers, and other intermediaries that facilitate art transactions and strengthen the enforcement of anti-money laundering laws and regulations. Therefore, imposing greater regulatory scrutiny and accountability on the art industry makes it impossible for money launderers to exploit the lack of regulation and anonymity in the art market. But also, it helps create a level playing field for legitimate art market participants and restore public trust in the integrity of the art market. Third, initiatives and organizations. These play a significant role in combating money washing in the art industry by increasing awareness and providing resources for preventing and detecting illegal practices, by bringing together stakeholders from across the industry, including law enforcement, galleries, auction houses, museums, and collectors. These organizations and initiatives can help create a more transparent and accountable art market that can in turn prevent money laundering and other illicit activities. Some notable examples include the Art Loss Register. This is an organization that maintains a database of stolen and looted art and works with the law enforcement agencies to recover missing pieces. This organization helps prevent criminals from using stolen art for money laundering. There is also the Bezo Institute on Governance. This one provides research, training, and technical assistance on anti-money laundering as it combats financing terrorism. Another organization in this case is the Financial Action Task Force, or FATF. This international organization sets standards and promotes effective implementation of legal, regulatory, and operational measures for combating money laundering and terrorist financing. They guide countries in implementing measures that are crucial in addressing money laundering in the art industry. Last but not least, the International Council of Museums, also known as ICOM. The organization has developed guidelines and ethical and professional practices in the art industry, including recommendations for the prevention of money laundering and illicit trafficking of cultural property. And now the fourth and last solution: greater transparency. I remember hitting at this one as I was talking through the other three potential solutions, so why not delve into it? Now, this can help fight against money laundering in several ways. First, it can help identify suspicious transactions and patterns of behavior that could indicate money washing. With more transparency in the art market, it can be easier to track the movement of funds and identify potential sources of illicit funds. In addition, increased transparency can deter potential money launderers from using the art market as a vehicle for their illegal practices, since it makes it more difficult to hide the activities from authorities. Finally, greater transparency can help build trust in the art market and protect the integrity of the art industry, something that can ultimately benefit legitimate artists, collectors, and of course investors. If you skipped some part of this video, allow me help you get all the dots together. In this video, we have explored the hidden world of money laundering in the art industry. We have seen the subjective valuation of art, the anonymity of transactions, and the lack of regulations have all made art an attractive avenue for money laundering. We have discussed some of the case studies and techniques used by money launderers, as well as the negative consequences of their actions on the art market, legitimate artists, and the public perception. However, we have also seen that there are some potential solutions to these problems, such as increased regulation, international cooperation, and greater transparency, and how each could help when it comes to combating money laundering in the art industry. We looked at initiatives and organizations such as the Bezo Art Trade Guidelines, the Financial Action Task Force, and the Art Loss Register that are already working towards this goal. It is important to stay informed and support transparency in the art world, because by doing so, we can help ensure that the art market remains a legitimate and trustworthy space, that the true value of artworks is reflected in their prices. I encourage you to take action against money laundering in your respective capacities, maybe by donating, talking about it, or sharing this video. Joining in on promoting a more transparent and ethical art industry remains a primary aim for making this video. And if you're interested in exploring other pressing global issues, I recommend that you watch this next video that sheds light on the population collapse, a crisis in Europe and Asia. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again very soon.